It's Palm Sunday, and we are looking forward to sharing a little bit of reflection with you all about Palm Sunday and Holy Week, some of the history of it, some of the theology behind it, and some of the scripture that leads us there. We hope you'll join us for this week's episode of Hear These Words. Hello and welcome to Hear These Words, a podcast and video series from Good Shepherd Episcopal Church. I'm Sanford Groff.
And I am Jim Cook.
And every week on the podcast, we take a look at the readings that are assigned for the upcoming Sunday. And this Sunday is Palm Sunday. And we have a lot of readings, and we can talk a little bit about why that is. But for the Liturgy of the Palms, we're looking at Matthew 21, 1 through 11. Psalm 118 is in there, but we don't always do that, just depending on the year. And then for the Liturgy of the Word, we have Matthew 27, 11 through 54, also with a bit of a caveat, Isaiah 50, 4 through 9, Psalm 31, 9 through 16, and Philippians 2, 5 through 11. I don't think today we're going to go through everything of Holy Week. I'm hoping we're going to do one more episode for Holy Week and then an Easter episode is my goal, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But let's at least take a look at Palm Sunday. And we can look back to the 70s when the Revised Common Lectionary changed the Sunday readings.
It kind of followed the 79 prayer book.
Yeah.
It's kind of where it got codified.
Right.
And Palm Sunday readings now encapsulate really the beginning, the entry into Jerusalem, all the way to the cross on Good Friday.
Right.
Because as I was taught in seminary back in the Dark Ages, people don't go to church on Holy Week.
Right.
And so to experience Holy Week, the church puts kind of a synopsis in the Palm Sunday liturgy.
Right.
So you start out with the palms and all the excitement, which is great. And it kind of works.
Right.
When you're gathered out in the courtyard, right, and blessing the palms and kind of reenacting that entry into Jerusalem. And then it ends in the silence of the cross. And you kind of walk out in silence, and you know it feels like Good Friday.
Yes,
and that's really because, and I'm saying this. I mean, attendance is pretty poor on the Monday, Thursday, Good Friday liturgies,
right?
And so to help us get from Palm Sunday to Easter, the church gives us a pretty expansive service on Palm Sunday.
And just the attendance is relative to Sunday's attendance is poor. I mean, we still get probably near 100 people on Good Friday, and 60, 70,
this
or
isn't
80.
about Good Shepherd in particular.
No, it's not. It's kind of a church-wide phenomenon.
Yes, it is. Right. It is. Yeah.
And that's been going on for my entire life.
I mean, you look at a Good Friday service, there might be 100 people at it. You look at Easter Day, and there's 500.
Right.
A little difference.
Right. And Palm Sunday will probably have 250.
Right.
So, do you have a feeling about that in terms of, do you like in your ideal kind of world for you?
For me personally, I really value Holy Week, but we're priests, right? So
this is kind of like our thing.
If we're not saying that, you guys are in deep trouble. Right. But I do like the energy of Palm Sunday, and I do like that feeling.
The arc.
And it does give us a sense of what the mood of the liturgies are trying to create. Right. So I'm not
taking
about that.
a 6-day period, 7-day period, and condensing it into an hour and 15 minutes, and kind of giving that emotional high to low.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I get a little testy if I turn around the TV or I look around and I see that a congregation is singing a Palm Sunday hymn at the beginning, and they're also singing a Palm Sunday hymn at the end. Right. It's like, that is not right. So
I better go check the bulletins. I haven't proofed them yet. Make sure we don't want you testing.
You don't want me mad.
How about the music? I mean, I've known no different, right? Mm-hmm. I've always known that kind of first, palms at the beginning, and then you kind of go through. And I really like that we, at the 10 o'clock service, do something with the youth group and this dramatic. We're going to do a play this year. We did monologues the last couple of years. So we're going to try to capture some of the emotional essence of the monologues in a more a bigger cast with more participation from. They wanted more youth group members involved, so that was a good instinct on their part. So we'll see how it kind of plays out. But I think in terms of the readings, we can. There's a lot to kind of. We've got 9 pages of readings right here, so we're not going to get through all of that. So if you're coming hoping for a real deep dive in all of them, just recalibrate your expectations, I think. So. Palm Sunday. This is Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem, and it's kind of at that last, period, week or so of his life, last few days of his life. We don't really have a sense of how much time is between Palm Sunday and Passover. I don't think. I mean,
I think it's a little bit different in the different Gospels.
It's a Matthew
year, but it's not a long time.
Right.
There's not a long delay between that and the Passion itself.
Right.
It's not months or a year.
No.
We're talking weeks.
Weeks, if that. Yeah.
And what's striking about it, I think, which we know this, but the way Jesus, who's hailed as this king, comes in on this donkey, right, and comes in. There's so much symbolism that the Gospels kind of put in that the writers do about how this happens and the imagery around it, and how the crowds later on Good Friday wanted like a different kind of king than the one they've got in terms of that leadership role, that who do we look to, and they're not happy,
right? So
the crowds turn. The whole imagery speaks kind of without words across the whole week. And again, it's so relatable because I can find myself in that crowd in so many different ways. Right? I mean, which is what I think we all hope to enter the story somewhere as somebody in that story. And I'm always one of those people in the crowd, and I'd probably be the one, hailing him at some level coming in. But I could see myself also yelling, "Crucify him," being disappointed with what I thought this was about.
Right.
If I'm honest.
Right.
And I think
you were hoping for the military parade.
Yeah.
And you ended up getting kind of a bohemian
up there stripped,
street,
not talking,
right.
Like say something, do something, if you say who you are,
right.
It's a letdown. And I think the Sunday, the Passion, Holy Week, the drama, all of it helps me enter that in a way, which is why you pray that more people participated in that so that they could kind of experience that feeling.
Right.
Because it's not just, it shouldn't just be a sadness about, oh, what did we do to Jesus? It's we do it to Jesus today.
Right. It wasn't just a historical.
No, it wasn't. You just didn't walk out weeping on Good Friday night. Oh, I feel so bad for that guy, or doing the stages of the cross and all that. It's about us participating in that moment, and we are still participating in it today. Right. And particularly right now, it's tough to have a Holy Week when you're at war. It's tough.
Yeah.
For so many reasons. I mean. Because it's just everything seems out of sync, and so did Holy Week in Jerusalem. Right.
I do not have nearly the depth of reflection this morning. I want to actually go. I'm going to go back to an embodied moment for me because I think
you do that. I'll just drink my coffee.
Maybe I'll connect it at some level, but I don't know. Don't get your hopes up. In Baltimore, when I lived in Baltimore. And I was at this downtown, church, small, not tiny, but not a big church, smaller church. We would do a joint Palm Sunday kind of, it wasn't a parade,
Right.
but like walk with the Catholic Church and I think it was a Presbyterian church. And so the three, we did this joint Palm Sunday morning, and every year it would change, like the starting location would change. So one year it was at the Catholics, and the other was at our church, Memorial Episcopal, and the other was at the Presbyterians. And I remember one year, vesting is before I was a priest, and I was like I don't even think I was a crucifer. I was like an acolyte, or something, just walking in procession. And it was weird. I mean, it was like it was cool to get, 100 people together or whatever it was with these three churches in an ecumenical way. But then you start walking down the streets of Baltimore with like cars are whipping by you on a Sunday morning, and like it's fairly chilly in March or whenever it was. And I found it oddly like discomforting. It was not in a secluded courtyard, kind of by yourself.
Everybody's there to do that.
Everyone's there focused on the thing, and you're protected by buildings and fences and hedges and driveways and stuff like that. I mean, this was like we're walking and we're carrying a cross, and we've all got these. And we didn't have like palms like what you have out here. We had the little dinky
like the ones you order from
the one you order and from up north. And I thought that I guess the reason that sticks out to me as really memorable Palm Sunday is because of the way that it kind of did not meet my expectation for the moment. I thought this was going to be kind of a really cool thing, and it felt very like you were exposed. And I wonder if there's something about that first Palm Sunday. And again, we do it in a way like it's, 1 minute you're, blessing the palms, and the next minute you're up and you're Hosanna. And I mean, I wonder if Jesus was walking on this donkey for miles. I mean,
and how many people were really there?
How many people were really there, and how long this could have been hours of people, him walking by himself or with a few people, and then kind of slowly the crowd builds and they're walking awkwardly. And some people start getting excited kind of as they walk together. And this could have, when you look at the actual, when you can imagine the timeline of it, you could see where people's hearts that kind of started off maybe kind of hard, or their expectations were, this is not who we thought this guy was, kind of slowly soften, slowly melt, slowly kind of get more into it, so that by the end, it's a bigger crowd and they're pretty excited.
Right. I think that's legitimate, and when you think of Jerusalem, right? They weren't big freeways like we have, or these big streets, right? They were like tiny little almost alleys, and people were probably more hanging out a window or in a doorway than they were like lining up the way we watch a parade,
right?
With our lawn chairs,
right. Fire truck goes by.
Fire truck goes by. It's a much more, condensed space. And
I agree with you that everyone watching and participating might not have been so happy. It could have been a mixed. You could have had a heckler, out there. You'd have people closing their windows, slamming them shut because they're mad, or
you got
they
Roman
think
soldiers
are
on guard,
right,
waiting for trouble,
right.
looking scary,
right. A more, I guess if I were to boil it down, my little experience in Baltimore and how I imagine it probably was a more chaotic, less focused experience than what we typically do, like what we're going to do on Sunday in church.
Right. No, I think I'm sure that's right.
But that might speak to your like.
But I think that at some level, it's that kind of that more visceral connection or detachment from it. That is where God might be working in any one of us in the moment of this particular Palm Sunday, Holy Week. I don't know. All of us are different. We're all carrying so many different things within us that are used by God to bring us to that entry point, right? That bring us to that moment, and how God uses it in this particular lifetime, in this particular Holy Week, is unique to each one of us, which I also find kind of a beautiful chaos, in what you're looking for and how it touches you.
Right.
And all we can do is, as a church, is provide the opportunity for those moments.
Right.
and let it go. That's also why it's kind of on Sunday morning, like with the play that we're going to do here. There's not a sermon.
There's not a sermon.
And so it kind of leaves open the imagination and the word to speak to us in that kind of, that's there. And you're not going to stand up and sort of summarize it for us in your way.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think I think there's great wisdom in that.
Yeah.
It's not like a Sunday off for the preacher.
No.
It really is an invitation to the congregation to do the preaching in their way, which I think is really necessary.
Right.
Instead of you limiting that experience for me, based on that's
my
a
take.
very interesting read, but not what I was thinking.
No,
You
it
know what I
definitely
mean?
leaves it more open.
Yeah.
And then it invites you into that Holy Week walk.
It does.
On Maundy, Thursday, there is preaching. On Good Friday, there is preaching. On the Vigil, there is preaching.
Yeah.
And, but in each of those, then they become their own kind of moment. And the service, as priests, we always get a bit, even though we do this year after year, and I've 14 years or however long I've been doing it, you still, like, the liturgies are just different enough that you do kind of catch yourself like, wait, what did we do again in this thing? but that's actually part of, I think that's part of the mystery of this spiritual kind of encounter that we have.
It is. I think the I'm just thinking about this now, like the liturgies all being different. Every time you come in, all the folks who participate in those liturgies, right, within a congregation like this, it's like dozens and dozens of people who come and give of themselves to make these liturgies sort of come to life. And they're all a little awkward. They don't have to run with great precision. It's almost a little bit, the chaos within them is okay. Now, it takes it from like starting out here in the courtyard with the kind of the chaos of all that, and people coming late, and it's hot, and whatever's going on, and you're trying to get in, and where you're sitting, and all that stuff. You can't hear, and there's water. Don't get my silk tie wet with water, like that kind of stuff, right? I mean, that's. But it's a good, and then you come back on Maundy, Thursday, and that uncomfortableness around that foot washing thing.
Yeah.
It's just like this thing. I don't like it, or if I'm going to do it, I've gone to the podiatrist. I've gone and gotten my nails done before I even possibly think of having anyone touch my feet. But that's precisely the way we're supposed to kind of feel, you know? And then you come back on Maundy, Thursday, or on Good Friday, and it's just like there's very little, there's no pomp. None of that. It's just you walk in, you sit there, you listen, and you walk out. And there's some cool. Well, you guys do the veneration of the cross with which is a really powerful moment, right?
Right.
That it's, and that's what the liturgies I think are designed to do. They're drama.
They're drama,
and yet they're drama that doesn't have to be like perfect.
Right. And in fact, we're going to ask you to participate in the drama.
In the drama,
like
you're in it. You're part of it.
You're not watching a show.
Which is kind of goes back to what I was saying at the very beginning, right? All of Holy Week isn't just a retelling of the story; it's a re-entering the story, and you can only really re-enter it as you.
Right. And where you are.
Where are you? And then the trust that God will do something with you. Who knows what that's going to be? Right. You know what I mean? Seriously, who knows? I don't know what that's going to be. And it may not be anything very dramatic. It could be life-changing.
Well, and I've found that every year after, through Lent and then Holy Week, something new does kind of emerge. And it's a small thing, and I couldn't even tell you, last year what that was for me, and sometimes it emerges during the week. Sometimes it doesn't emerge until after Easter, after Easter Day. But for that reason, I mean, there are a lot of people for whom Holy Week, this is their favorite week. I mean, spiritually speaking, they are going to be at every service. They've been doing it for years. It's just this really rich and somewhat intense time. To be very focused. Yes. And I think for us as priests, you know what I like. I mean, I kind of describe it as the marathon for a priest. It's
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
I think Christmas Eve is a sprint. I
Yes.
think Holy Week's a marathon. And I think and I think Ash Wednesday is just a long day. But but you know, I'm not really doing a lot of like office work. I'm not prepping for something beyond. I'm not really answering emails the way I should normally.
You're not.
You're
it's
just
not where your
focused in
mind
that
is.
moment, and your heart and your soul is actually in that with Jesus. And it always kind of boggles my mind when I get something from another priest or like the diocese or whatever. And you're like, how are you thinking about these things? Like all we're doing is focusing on this week. The one thing I will say, we had a prep meeting with the Altar Guild, and the Altar Guild is great. Always 3 steps ahead of me, you know, in terms of the details, talking about the foot washing.
Yeah.
And this is something that my predecessors and have spent a lot of time thinking about foot washing and how to do it. And so but there are a lot of questions about, is it 1 foot? Is it 2 feet? Do you put your things in the bowl, your feet in the bowl? Do you dangle them over? You know, what are the mechanics of doing the washing? And you can sense that it is jarring. It's jarring for the people probably who are doing it in the moment. It's jarring for us as priests, even who have done it for decades. It's jarring for the Altar Guild who have to set it up and figure it out. And is the thing too heavy? And what are the towels? What type of towels are we getting? And yet last year there was I think it was toward the end, we wash each other's feet. So you and I used to wash feet at St. Mark's, but here we wash the next person's foot. And there was a teenager who ended up washing a 90-year-old's feet.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And then the 90-year-old went to get down on her knees to wash the next but she needed help. So the teenager ended up helping her.
Like,
and the Altar Guild.
It's like
that was just a beautiful moment. Like, absolutely.
You want to capture that. And,
all the other stuff is worth that moment.
You can't prepare, can't prepare for that, you know, or manufacture it.
You can't. No,
it's really great. Yeah. One year, this is kind of an aside, you know this, Peggy Tuttle, who passed away, 4 or 5 years ago, was an assistant priest of mine up at St. David's in Minnetonka. And we were washing feet, and we were both doing the washing, and people were coming up, and we get all done, and Peggy's over on her knees, and she couldn't get up. It's like, I went over and I pulled her up, and the whole congregation just started laughing. Yeah. It was so funny. Right. We laughed about it always, and Peggy had such a great spirit about it anyways, but... So
you never know with these retired assisting priests.
You never know. I'm just warning you. You might have to come over and pull me up. You know,
one day. Right.
But I think it's all of that the moments allow us to know that this is not rehearsed.
Right. It's not. Yeah.
And when we come to it unrehearsed, and you may come to God, I'm never gonna get my foot washed. I hate it when they do that. They used to just do it one person up there, or they'd have symbolic 3 people, who had agreed to get their feet washed. Now they open it up to everybody. And even by me sitting in the pew thinking, I don't want to do this, I feel uncomfortable. Because it's kind of, should I? Who's watching? Why aren't I doing it? They're wondering why you know what I mean? And I think even that is an emotion of feeling to be respected.
Yeah.
Because it's an uncomfortable moment. We're looking at the Savior of the world, the light being extinguished, the whole thing. We know it's coming, and it's uncomfortable. It can bring tears to your eyes. Even now on a podcast, I could feel my ears. But the magnitude of what we're doing and what that cross means and where it's all headed is pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of heartwarming to think that all of us in our different ways, in our little congregations, big and small, are all trying to tap into that. And that has to be at some level pleasing to God.
Right.
You're right, and
or at least
transforming for us.
Right. Or at least in those tears and that vulnerability, God has yet another way to come to us,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
where our guard is down just
enough.
enough during
Maybe I can get
taking
in
your
there.
shoe off or whatever,
Yeah,
that the Spirit can move.
yeah.
I think that's pretty good for today.
Yeah, I hope so. No, that's great. I do appreciate what you said about like with clergy and all of us. I mean, a lot of work and passion goes into this, and we are clergy first. We're not chief executive officers of corporations running a business.
Right.
And I think it's easy to forget that, both as the priest and as the person in the parish and the congregation. That there are moments in time where like we actually believe this stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
we do.
We actually believe this, and
Right.
we're being moved by it the same way we hope you are.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
giving some of that space and that respect is, I think, part of the congregation's responsibility too.
Yeah.
So.
And to pray for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Good. Well, we will walk the walk, and starting on Sunday, and then we'll just see how the Spirit moves.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a gift.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you being here today, and I appreciate all of you joining us on this week's episode. We hope you'll join us for Palm Sunday, 8 and 10. Join us in person if you can, or live stream, however you join us. It's always good to be together. And now that we've spent a little time, not with all these words, but we hope that you feel a little more prepared to hear these words.
Thanks.
We'll see you soon.